Hey guys, it's Hazzy back again. I wanted to make a video about how I met a friend of mine, someone that's become a good friend of mine. I met her last summer, her and her little dog. Oh, don't mind me, I'm sitting here. I don't have really a dedicated space to make videos, so I'm sitting here on my couch and I have this rainbow blanket that I got about a week or so ago, and it's so cozy and warm, so I'm just sitting with that on my lap. um, so yeah, so let's see. So I forget what month it was, but it was last summer. I went to a local park here in Maryland, and I do like to do that, especially in the summertime. It's just nice to go out and sit down, relax. When the weather's nice, it's so nice to get outside. I love it. I'm one of those people that I find the sun energizes me, and it just makes me feel so much better, inside and out. I love it. Now, after being outside on a hot day for a while, even for a few hours, you do start to feel a little lethargic, but it's like a nice, comfortable, tired feeling, if that makes sense. But anyway, so I was out at the park, and I just wanted to be by myself that day. I'm trying to think if I had anything on my mind. I think I just wanted to. I can't think of anything specifically. I think I just wanted to get out there and sit somewhere. I had, of course, my phone with me. I have some chill music that I like to listen to. Sometimes I have some meditations that I like to listen to, and I just wanted to, sit down and unwind and just like relax that day. That was my plan. That was my big plan for the day. So I was out there in the afternoon. This park is on the water, so it's really nice. I'm one of those people that always connects to the water. My star sign is Cancer, so and I grew up by the ocean. I grew up by the ocean from the age of 12, 13 years old. I had my swimsuit and then my shorty wetsuit and my boogie board, and I would just go and hit the waves, and I love to do that. I always love to do that. There were a few nights where my dad would come and get me because it was like sunset or past sunset and I was still out there, and the beach was a decent walk from my house. I had to go like down this hill because like I said, I grew up by the beach, so I was very fortunate in that. But I had to like walk down this big hill. It was a cobblestone road, and then cross the main road, and then go to the right and walk. It was probably at least a good 10-minute walk, something like that, 10-15 minutes. And then you had to go under this tunnel because there was a train that ran above you, so you had to go under a train tunnel and to the beach. And the beach that I went to was called Danger Beach, of all things. I'm from Cape Town, South Africa, originally, so that's where I grew up. But I've been in the U.S. since '97 now. But yeah, they were they were some rocks that kind of formed almost like a reef. I say were, I just haven't been there in a long time. But yeah, from what I remember, you had to really be careful during low tide because the rocks would be visible. But the waves were usually pretty big, bigger than any of the waves I've seen here on the east coast of the US. Um, I hear and I believe it's a little bit different when there's a storm coming, a big storm, but I wouldn't even want to attempt that. But yeah, they were pretty big waves, and we definitely, I say we, my best friend at the time, Allison, she was a little bit older than me. She lived down the road from me, so we would go a lot of times together. And there were some guys that we met up with from time to time, other like just some surfer dudes and guys that would also boogie board and stuff. I never got into surfing, but always loved the boogie boarding. Anyways, but I digress. So yeah, it was, I love the water. I went a little bit of a tangent there. I was like, where was I? Sometimes I'll do that. My mind will go somewhere else. but I love the water. It energizes me. The ocean for me is my favorite. I can just sitting on the beach and listening to the waves, watching the waves roll in. It's just so peaceful, so therapeutic to me. It's just really good for your soul. And I love walking along the beach and picking up seashells. That's just awesome. That'll never get old for me. But mostly I love to just get in there and swim and boogie board and catch some waves if I can and just enjoy it. So anyway, so yeah, I love the water. I always will be a beach bum at heart. So I digress. Let's get back to the story. So yeah, I was just sitting there. I had a bag full of things, just a few things, not my actual purse, but because I hide that in the car. But I had, I guess, like a few books and stuff with me. Sometimes I like to go and read. I had, a headset with me, but I wasn't wearing it at the time. And so I always try to find a bench to sit at. Like they have, those picnic tables with the benches attached to it. So I usually try to, sit at one of those. But it was a really pretty day in the summer, and there were a decent amount of people out, and all of the benches were pretty much taken. So I was like, okay, thought to myself, no big deal. I'll go find a patch of grass and sit there, kind of like away from everybody. So I found a good spot that was kind of, I don't know if you would say near the front or the back of the park. I guess it depends which way you're looking at it, but it was towards where the water is. There's a main road that kind of runs around behind the other side of it, and then on the opposite side of that, there's a hill, and then the water. So found a nice spot, kind of, near there was like a hedge, I don't know, like 10 feet from me. It was nice and private. And so I was like, this is perfect. So I sat down. I forget if I had a picnic blanket with me. I usually have a picnic blanket with me, but I don't think I did that day. But I was like, whatever, sat on the grass. I like to ground myself when I can too. So I don't know if I had done it then, but a lot of times I'll go sit out in nature like that and take my socks and shoes off and just, so I can have my bare feet on the ground and do that. I don't remember if I had that day though. I don't think I did, but so I was sitting there for a little bit, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like that, just, relaxing. And then I noticed this gentleman coming up. He was a tall African American gentleman, bald, and he walked with a limp. And he stood out to me because there was, from where I was sitting, there was a picnic table about, I'm trying to think, probably about 20 feet, I want to say 20 feet. I'm not real good with math, but, close-ish over to my left-hand side. And he had walked over there and sat over there, which normally I wouldn't have thought anything of it because, we're all at the park trying to enjoy ourselves and stuff. But he literally sat on on the bench, like closest to me. Like it was as close as he could sit to me. Like there was a whole other section of bench that he could have sat, or we could have sat in the middle, and just kind of, but he not only was sitting like that, he was completely facing me and staring at me. So I'm sitting there like, what is this guy doing? Already immediately feeling uncomfortable. If he had just sat down and minded his own business, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. But especially, being a female, you have to be pretty careful these days. You have to keep your wits about you. You can't get too comfortable. You kind of have to make sure you're aware of your surroundings all the time and everything. This comes like second nature to me since I grew up in South Africa. I have some stories about that too. I had someone grab me one time in a tunnel under the road. Again, that's a whole other story. So you have to be, really careful at all times. So I started feeling really uncomfortable. So I turned I turned my back to him mostly. And then I'm trying to think, I may have put my I think I did. I think I put my headset in my ears, just kind of showing him like, hey, I don't want to talk, but I was still paying attention out of the corner of my eye because I didn't want to like completely shut him out. Like I still wanted to be aware of what he was doing. So he sat there for maybe like 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, something like that. I forget. But he sat there for not really not a real long time, and then he left. So I thought, yay, he's gone. I can actually relax again. I can enjoy the rest of my day and not have to worry about this guy. So I got more comfortable. I think I ended up I put something on YouTube. I forget if it was music or um, one of my favorite tarot card readers, because I do have a few of those. I have to give them a shout out one of these videos, but I was listening to something relaxing, and wouldn't you know it, after some time goes by, I see this guy come back, except this time he's coming from my right. And so it's the same guy. He has a newspaper in his one hand right now at this point, and he has a folding chair in the other, and he parks himself about the same distance away that he was before, sitting at the bench, close-ish, 20 feet, something like that, 20, 25 feet. Again, I'm not really good with measurements like that, but it was close enough to where I felt uncomfortable. Like I was like, this guy's back. And again, he sat facing me, like completely facing me, staring at me openly, brazenly. I was like, okay. At this point, I was just done with the whole situation. He was making me feel very uncomfortable. I didn't get a good feeling about him. He obviously wasn't respecting me or my privacy or wanting to just have a quiet moment to myself. Like he was just brazenly, staring at me and trying to, I don't know, talk to me, or I don't know what it was, but I was done with it at that point. So I started packing my stuff up, getting everything into my bag. And I didn't want him to feel like I was scared of him, because it's not like I was scared of him, but at this point, I was more annoyed and irritated than anything else, to be honest with you, because I just wanted to relax, and here's this guy, like creeping on me for like no reason. So I was like, all right, I'm done. So I'm packing my stuff up, and again, I didn't want him to think that I was scared of him, and that's why I was leaving. So as I was like just kind of casually packing my stuff up, I looked over just the surroundings, and I wanted to find somebody that I could go and talk to, So I saw a lady to my left. She was just past the picnic table where the guy had sat earlier. She was walking, a lady with a cane and a little white dog. And I was like, that's perfect. Let me go talk to her. So I got up and I went over to her. Sorry, my nose is being a little itchy right now. And I went over to her and I was like, oh, what a cute dog. And he really was cute, white with a few little brown patches here and there. And he looked like a chihuahua of some sort. And I was like, can I pet your dog? And, I can never resist people's pets anyway. So I'm petting her dog and everything. And after the initial, hello and greeting and everything, I told her why I'd come over there. And I told her about, the man and the way he'd acted and everything. And crazily enough, and I can't make this stuff up, crazily enough, she narrowed her eyes. And she looked over at him and she goes, you know what? She goes, that looks like the same guy that's been following me around in his vehicle. And she was like, she's like, he has two vehicles. He has a white SUV and a black SUV. But I've seen him driving I forget which one it was. I think it was the white one, recently. So I was like, wow, kind of blown away. Her and I ended up hitting it off. She's a real, really nice lady. For privacy purposes, I'm just going to call her T. But yeah, so we ended up talking for probably 2 hours that day, all said and done. And wouldn't you know, about half an hour or so after we started talking, this guy gets up. He had been staring in our direction again from time to time. Where we were, though, compared to where he was at that time, there was a tree, so you couldn't really see him directly, but you could kind of tell. So anyway, he ended up getting up and leaving, and wouldn't you know it, he got into a white SUV, and she was like, "That is the same guy. That guy has been following me around and stalking me like for the last few months. Like he would get in his car and just like follow her somewhere." And what made the whole thing really, really even worse and more scary for this woman is that I found out that she was homeless. She was homeless. She'd been homeless for a while. She has a minivan with a car carrier on the top. And I had noticed that, and I kind of wondered, but at the same time, a lot of people have car carriers these days. They're very handy to, throw extra stuff in. I guess especially if you have kids and stuff, and you're going to sports, you can just like throw it on the roof and call it a day. When I traveled to Florida, I had a roof bag, the actual roof bag brand, that I had gotten and strapped on there. And I thought it was great at first. I was able to hold a lot of stuff and everything, but I ended up finding out the hard way, just when I was getting ready to leave the Georgia homestead. I found out that since we had gotten quite a bit of rain, water had gotten in there. I don't know how, because the zipper was completely zipped up properly. The edges were covered by the top part of the thing. I don't know, but somehow water had gotten in there. And thank goodness, most of my items, it was mostly clothes in there. I had my boogie board and, maybe a few miscellaneous things, but the clothes and stuff that I had in there were all in those vacuum bags. So they were pretty much protected, but I had some towels on the bottom, because I also had a big duffel bag that was sitting, in those things, they have wheels and stuff. So I had put the towels down there to kind of protect the duffel bag from messing up the roof, because it was sitting, directly on the roof on, I don't know, like on like a grippy piece of material that, prevents it from, kind of like the stuff that you use for shelf liner, kind of like that. So yeah, it was all wet inside. The towels were sopping wet. So after that, I was like, forget it. If I get something else, I'm going to get a hard, for traveling and stuff, a hard top. So I ended up finding one. I did end up finding one, and I guess that's a whole other story. Not really that exciting, but, but I digress again. So yeah, she ended up admitting to me that day that she was homeless, and that she'd been homeless for probably 3 or 4 years. And this woman, she's in her early 60s. She's disabled. She's been on disability for a while now. She can barely walk. She has a really bad hip on her left-hand side, hence the cane that she walks with. And her knees are bad. I think she has some kind of spinal issues going on too. And my heart really went out to her, because like, to not only deal with all of that, and then to not be able to afford to live anywhere, like I couldn't imagine. And since that day, her and I have stayed friends. And she's become a really good friend of mine, actually. And I've learned a lot from her. She has shown me how strong you can be, how strong people can be when you have to. She goes through so much. She deals with a lot. and she hardly ever complains. You know, she of course has her good days where her body's not as painful, you know, not as hard to deal with, and those are, you know, the better days for her. Weather makes a big difference too. When the weather is cold, like it is out here, we've had a pretty mild winter overall, but still, when you're living in a vehicle, it's cold. You know, that makes a difference. The warm, sunny days that aren't too hot, but they're warm, they're comfortable. They're the best days. You can kind of feel just the sun soaking into your bones. You know, really makes you feel that much more grateful and happy. And yeah, so she deals with a lot, but she rarely complains. You know, and I think a lot of us can learn from someone like her, because I think here in this country, some people have so much, you know, to be grateful for, and a lot of times I think we lose track of that. You know, it's such a throwaway society where people are like, oh, get more things, buy more things, get this, get that, get the next best, whatever, you know, television, car, phone, iPad, you know, whatever the case may be, and they're just things, you know. They get thrown away when you don't want them anymore, or given away, or whatever. You know, they're not as important as people, as connecting with people. You know, I believe that life is meant to be lived to share experiences and things with people, to try to improve the world when you can, to try to help people. And that's probably the empath in me. I've always been that way. I've always been, you know, a nurturing person, someone that is always wanting to help people. Sometimes a little too much. Sometimes I want to, and I've tried to in the past, fix people. You can't do that. You can't fix anyone but yourself. You can only work on yourself. You can be there for people. You can try to help them if they ask for help, you know, if they reach out. But there are certain people that, and I've learned this from personal experience, there are certain people that you will always care about to a certain extent, but they're so damaged, they're so shut down, they're so broken inside that they're never going to, until they heal, and unless they heal, they're never going to be good for anyone else, not even as a friend. You know, these people, they just, they're out for themselves. And that's a hard thing for someone like me to understand, because I'm so the opposite of that. And I it makes it tough, but I'm glad that I am who I am, you know? But I guess you can't really do much, but pray for people like that, and hope that one day they see the light. I think there's a lot of people in this world that are walking around dealing with a lot of things, a lot of their own demons, and they've kind of really pushed them down, and they probably deal with them in other ways, you know, through addictions and things like that. And that's just a crutch, you know. And I've been on my own healing journey myself. I'm still in the process of it. I am definitely a different person than I was even a year ago, 2 years ago. At one point, I consider myself pretty broken myself. There were a lot of things that I needed to deal with, and there's things that I continue to deal with and go through and work through, and it's been really cool, and it's a journey that I'm going to continue to go on. You know, I don't think any of us can ever sit here and say, oh, I'm done, you know, I'm healed now, I'm good. You know, it's every day, there's you know, you learn something new about yourself. Sometimes I lose the words. I'm trying to figure out how to say what I want to say. Sometimes it's hard to find the words right away, but yeah, I feel really blessed to be at a point in my life where I am doing a lot better. I'm feeling a lot stronger, and as a result, I'm wanting to reach out and help others. You know, be there for others. Be, as they say, be the light that you wish to see in the world. And I know that that's a very cheesy saying, but it's something that I strongly believe in. So yeah, I have more stories about tea, but I think I'll leave it at that for now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I will definitely have some more story times. As I mentioned in my intro video, I lived in and ran an Airbnb for 3 years, so I have quite a few stories from that. Some really interesting guests, some really interesting people that I met. So if you like this video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and the like button. I hope to see you back. I hope you come back for more. If you do subscribe, I would love for you to leave me a comment, just so I know that you did, so I can reach out and say, hey, welcome. And if you have any ideas or anything that you would like me to talk about or explore, definitely let me know that as well. Like I said, this is a very new growing channel, and I'm kind of figuring it out as I go along. So, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. So that's it for now, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye.